Y'all see the title, man. Let's get to it.
Grizzlies star Ja Morant's best friend is wanted by Shelby County authorities tonight.
Year-old Josh Holloway says Morant and Pack assaulted him during a pickup game.
Warrant has been issued for Devontae Pack.
I should have made this video a very, very long time ago, but I'm not the type of person that likes to blame someone else for someone's action. I do think this is part of the formula. I don't think it's the whole formula. So before we get to the content, we're 4,000 subscribers away from hitting 800K subscribers. When we hit that number, we're gonna be splitting $1,000 between 5 subscribers that turn on our notifications on this channel. Are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and hitting on a practically tell you from memory every single Ja Morant incident that has gone down ever since January of 2023. Very shocking, isn't it? I mean, prior to January of 2023, Ja Morant has had a squeaky clean reputation and was widely considered to be one of the future faces of the NBA. And I want to state over and over again, man, I am rooting for the future of the NBA. Whether it's Zion Williamson, even though he has some very interesting off of the court issues, or Ja Morant and his recent miscues. I've said on this channel repeatedly, these are still young men and they're making their mistakes, and unfortunately there's a public eye on them as they're going about life and making their mistakes. Unfortunately, in Ja's case, the one theme in his career so far is he just tends to repeat the same mistake over and over and over again. And at a specific point, man, you need to take a step back and notice the trends and try to get yourself in situations when you're not making the same mistakes.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta be self-aware, man. And be self-accountability, you know. Hold yourself accountable.
Has lost out on $40 million.
Gotcha.
He's been suspended for 25 games. And to be honest, I still think this is a slap on the wrist considering everything that has occurred since January. I mean, since January alone, Ja Morant has been involved in an alleged attack of a underage kid, 17 years old. The kid was caught on a police camera explaining what happened.
Finally, I was in my head like that.
And you're talking about like basketball player Ja Morant.
Basketball player.
Okay, like Memphis Grizzly Ja Morant.
Grizzly Ja Morant, yeah.
So grown man just hit you in the face.
He was also involved in intimidating a security guard at a mall on behalf of his mom. And of course, we know of the incident of him showing a gun on Instagram Live. The first one being at a strip club, which they said was a lighter. And the second one being in a car, which is another one that we're going to be paying a little bit closer attention to today. Now, you might be thinking,
I thought they said this one was the lighter.
in a car, which is another one that we're going to be paying a little bit closer attention to today. Now, you might be thinking, Mike, why these two specific scenarios? You've covered these at length before. Well, it seems like there's yet another scenario that is clearly one part of the problem in Ja Morant's life that is causing this erratic behavior. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. Ja Morant is fully responsible for his decisions, even though he has this trend of holding himself accountable.
On both sides, you know, off the court, you know, making better decisions, you know, on the court, you know.
That's not holding yourself accountable, man. You know, your actions and the way you move is how you hold yourself accountable, man. You can't hold yourself accountable and continue to move the same way, make the same mistakes. You know?
Being locked in, you know, even more.
And then yet his team comes out and says that the gun that was shown in the second video was actually a fake gun. Which, don't make me bring my gun out again, man. I've shown you guys the difference between a real gun and a fake gun. We don't need to do it again. So with that being said, if you guys remember, there was an incident back in late January of 2023 when the Indiana Pacers faced off against the Memphis Grizzlies. T. Morant, Ja Morant's father, and Devontae Pack, Ja Morant's best friend, were both seated courtside, and they got into a verbal back and forth with a bunch of Pacers players. This will result in Devontae Pack being escorted off of the floor. Now, according to a report from The Athletic, following this situation, acquaintances of Ja Morant, which is assumed to be Pack and possibly his father, bear in mind these are all allegations, so don't sue me, aggressively confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team's bus in the loading area of FedEx Forum. And later, someone in a slow-moving SUV, which Morant was riding in, trained a red laser on them. So we obviously know what this could be. This could either be the laser in a weapon, or just based upon what the Morant camp has been saying lately, it could have just been a laser pointer just trolling them, making them think their lives are in danger. And they succeeded at that. The two members of the traveling party who spoke to The Athletic said that they did not see who shined the laser from the SUV. They also don't know if the laser was attached to a gun, but they believed it was. A Pacer security guard in the loading area at the time remarked, "That's 100% a gun. We felt like we were in grave danger," one person who was present said. The two sources who spoke to The Athletic requested anonymity because they fear retribution from those who confronted them. They said they considered filing a report with the police but decided against it for the same reason. Now, the NBA would probe this matter, and the result of it was, according to Mike Bass, the NBA spokesperson, is that certain individuals involved in the post-game situation and a related matter during the game that night have been subsequently banned from attending games in the arena. There was no explicit mention of Pac's name, but we all had an idea of who it was because afterwards, Ja Morant would tweet that the NBA banned my brother from home games for a year, with Pac later quoting Morant's tweet and adding that everything within the report was false info. Crazy how you believe their side of the story when the cameras don't show nothing that article said. Now let me tell you how I operate this channel, man. If we want to believe speculation without definitive proof, we follow trends. If there's consistent stories accusing an individual of a pattern of behavior, that's when you could get me to flip. If you remember in my very first video on Ja Morant, I thought that the 17-year-old kid was just out for a bag. And I'll constantly admit whenever I feel like I got something wrong. The reason why I realized I may have gotten something wrong is shortly after you had this incident, shortly after you had Ja Morant intimidating a mall cop, shortly after that you have the two incidents of him flexing a weapon. You have him making his fingers into a gun and shooting it at his teammate once he was able to sink a jumper in a game. Once I see that there's a constant trend of behavior, that's when you could get me to flip. And in this particular instance, I'm starting to notice a trend. Ja Morant once again has lost a lot of money this year. $40 million when you signed a 5-year, $193 million contract may sound like peanuts to the dollar. $40 million for any person is generational wealth. Yeah, Ja Morant still has generational wealth, but that doesn't mean you should burn money or make yourself less brand friendly, especially when there's things in place that you could do to make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where you can make poor decisions. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. A few months later, following the first incident with Ja Morant and him flexing a lighter at a strip club, which totally looks like a lighter, by the way. Just look at this footage. Doesn't that look like a lighter to you? After the Memphis Grizzlies lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, despite being a number 2 seed, a series that they should have won, by the way, Ja Morant was once again in trouble. This time, it was when Devontae Pack was live streaming on Instagram Live, and Ja Morant dancing with what appears to be a gun in the front seat. Once again, Devontae Pack got Ja Morant into some trouble. Now, this wasn't the only instances where Devontae Pack was involved in some wrongdoing alongside Ja Morant. No, Devontae Pack was also involved in allegedly punching this 17-year-old in what some people claim to be self-defense. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to go into details. Point being, this is now 3 instances at minimum where Devontae Pack
can't be having all this shit going on
into some
during your
trouble
career.
that also involved Ja Morant. He is there each and every single time almost. Are you starting to see a trend? Because I certainly am. The point being, and where I'm trying to go with this is, I think this should be the icing on the cake, because we found out that Devontae Pack is wanted by the police. This is coming from the local Memphis News. A warrant issued for friend of Ja Morant for assault after July 2022 altercation at Morant's house involving teen. Memphis police are looking for Devontae Pack, now charged with assault. Pack was involved in an altercation at Morant's house with the teen in July 2022. So it seems like that Pack is wanted for the said altercation that Ja Morant is being sued for. So the 17-year-old kid is trying to sue Ja Morant, but at the same time, a warrant has been issued for Ja Morant's best friend's arrest. So for those of you guys that don't remember what occurred, Ja Morant was sued for allegedly punching a teen during a game at a Memphis, Tennessee home. The suit was filed in Shelby County in September. It all stems from a July 26 incident at the NBA superstar's residence in Tennessee. According to police documents, parents, a 17-year-old who filed the lawsuit on September 9th told the cops he was playing in a pickup basketball game with Morant at the house when the two got into a verbal altercation. The plaintiff, according to the docs, said that the argument became heated and he threw a basketball at Morant, accidentally hitting him in the face. The teenager said the Grizzlies point guard then approached him, put his chin on his shoulder, and asked a bystander, "Should I do it to him?" The teen says Morant then struck him with a closed fist, knocking him to the ground. According to the docs, the 17-year-old said Morant then continued sticking him while on the ground and claims another man jumped in and began hitting him as well. I'm assuming in this particular instance, the other man, at least this is my assumption, these are all allegations, is Devontae Pack. Now, Morant actually admitted that he did strike the teenager, but he insisted that he was acting in self-defense. Morant said that the plaintiff threw the ball at him intentionally during the argument and then began to approach him as if he wanted to fight. Police say that Morant also told him his brother was involved in the altercation as well. The basketball player did not name the man. Well, the first time Ja Morant outed his brother, it turned out to be Devontae Pack. This time, well, it once again is trending in that direction. Both parties, according to the doc, said the fight was broken up by spectators shortly after it began. Morant told officers the teenager made verbal threats stating he'd light his house up as he was being escorted off the property. Morant advised he and his family were put in fear by the statement. Now, the article said at the very bottom, it is unclear what the plaintiff is seeking in the lawsuit. Court records show Morant as well as his childhood friend Devontae Pack are listed as defendants. Now, that is why there's a warrant out for his arrest. Now, what is my personal theory about this situation? I think Devontae Pack may be the fall guy in this instance because Ja Morant has significantly more to lose than Devontae Pack. But at this point, man, this guy has such a bad track record. I mean, every single time something bad goes down, Devontae Pack is there. And I know there's an element of trying to be loyal to your boys from day one, but when this man is quite possibly there at each and every single unfortunate incident of your career, then something may need to be done. But on the other hand, you could be saying,
Mike, what the hell are you talking about? Because Devontae Pack, if anything, is saving Ja Morant.
I mean, yeah, let's put the laser pointer aside for a second, but in this case, when Ja Morant is doing something stupid, Devontae Pack is hopping in and trying to take the fall for Ja Morant. So, who is ruining whose life here? Is it Devontae Pack ruining Ja's, or is it Ja ruining?
They both just doing, fraud shit. They gotta, just Ja got to play basketball. Word. He's gotta play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Hoop, get your bread. You know what I'm saying? Don't do nothing too crazy. Have fun. Like, it could be all so simple. It could be all so simple. You got the money, you got the fame, you got what you want. You're a professional basketball player. That's a dream. You're getting paid to live the dream. You know what I'm saying? Just go hoop. Yeah. Just go hoop. That it is for you. I know what to do. Share the video with your people on social media. Click on the last reaction, and I'm out of there, man.